Okay. Hopefully I've got all the kinks and everything worked out of the video and the audio. Anyway, I'm going to do this a little differently than I normally do. Um, I'm going to kind of do it like my pop-up classes have been, and I want to show an extreme amount of gratitude to everybody who took the 4 pop-up classes I've done lately, the Kuji-In reality hacking, the lazy Jedi, I probably shouldn't use that word, Guide to the Galaxy, Back to the Present, and the lazy Force Ghost Guide to the Multiverse. Those 4 classes. They were a lot of fun. I think everybody enjoyed them. And I just want to extend my heartfelt gratitude for letting me continue to teach and pass on things that I've learned. So this is hopefully going to be a quick video, and again I have no notes, and I really have no idea exactly what I'm going to say. I just kind of decided to make a video, and so I did. But this is on. This is hopefully going to be a sequel to the Lust video that I did a long time ago, or a year or 2 ago, somewhere around there. And this is on seminal retention or sexual retention, because I think it's applicable to male, female, etc. So essentially, I've been doing seminal retention for quite some time now. After a last brief romantic interlude, sort of a little while ago, and I've completely given up porn, which I think everyone should do. And I know a lot of people aren't honest about this, but especially when they, propose to be teachers and what have you. But I've always worked on a very transparent level. I will admit that I have seen firsthand. I know there are a lot of studies on the chemicals that are involved with pornography and whatnot. But and I know some people have different effects with it. So I'm not going to say there's only one viewpoint on this, just like I do with everything else. So, but I have witnessed it and excessive masturbation, ruin what could have been a good relationship, to the point that's like, what's wrong with you? And you're like, I don't know. You think you have everything under control. And I want to say something that I don't think necessarily gets said very often. I know that there's many videos and studies and everything on the chemical nature of it and the addictive nature of it, and sort of the psychological aspect of it. But the energetic aspect of it, what you've got to realize is that some of these, all of this is coming from kinks and fetishes and stuff like that, which is basically, as I've already explained, kinks to the flow. And so when somebody is writing from that viewpoint, from that energy, from that energetic point of view, that tends to, infect the words, and, they become spells that, again, passes on. So in a mimetic sense, it passes on and replicates itself inside of your brain, and then you go on from there. And again, it might take many, many, many repetitions before it kind of really gets ingrained. So, if you watch a video every now and again on a certain topic, or your interests, your sexual interests and fetishes and kinks or whatever is all over the place, then it could be very different. But if you tend to become obsessive and focused on certain things, then that really becomes a problem, and it's obsession in general. And so think of it, it's that whole brahmacharya, and I might not have said that right, but it's the idea of being aware of the energy that you're sharing and exchanging with the world. And it's very important. again, it's sort of that, Kundalini awakening, and a lot of processes are very cart before the horse things, and then I try to, at some point you've got to put the horse back before the cart so that you can, ride properly, and get to where you want to go, wherever that may be, many paths up the mountain, and anybody that is sort of a narcissistic sociopath and like will yell at you and no names, and you must do this my way is the only correct way, etc. And especially if they're teaching bad, curses and what have you, to the non-believers and etc. Then but no names. So I digress. And sorry, circling back around. But anyway, so it's the whole idea is, when you have this flood of orgiastic bliss energy, it's easy to sort of regulate that with, the sort of off valve, especially if it's hitting a lot of things that, you'd rather not have lit up. But what I'm trying to say is seminal sexual retention, let's say that for both genders again, or all genders, and this idea of relaxing into it. So if you're fighting it and like, I need to come, but I'm not going to come, that's not doing anybody any good, and it's the same with all the things I'm doing, like cold showers. If you're tensing and you're fighting it, then you're going to come out angry and pissed off. But if you're just letting the ego go and letting the ego break and crack and like, relaxing into this humility that the cold tends to bring, then it's going to be a much more pleasant experience. The strong surrenders. It's sort of that thing of docs. You should rush towards the sword, basically, joyfully leap towards the sword. The thing that will kill the ego, basically. Fasting. I just got off of a 36-hour fast. If you relax into it, and especially if you're coming from the viewpoint of these things should be gifts to yourself. You're not doing them to make yourself better. You're already great. You're already whole. You're already complete. And anybody that's, going to tell you opposite is completely full of shit, and you shouldn't listen to them anyway. But you're already whole and you're already complete, but you're doing this as a gift of love to yourself, for various reasons. Could be, perhaps some things need to be refined, and polished. And that's, again, putting the horse back before the cart, and pretty much everything that went into the pop-up classes and what have you. And these videos that I'm making, and etc. So, final thoughts. If you can relax into sexual retention, it will completely readjust your life. So as I've talked about before with fasting tends to show you sort of the cracks in your personality and your ego, etc., that aren't necessarily that are more wounds, let's say, than intentional crackage and breakage. Sexual retention will be the grout, or the what do you call it? But anyway, that the mortar, basically, that you use to fill in these cracks, and will completely change and revolutionize your life if you let it. If you do it long enough and you really relax into the flow, so that it's not, I gotta come. It's, let the blissful energy run throughout me. Let it go wherever it needs to go. Let it do what it needs to do. Let it teach me what it needs to teach me, And then you put that into, acts that, again, you're gifting towards yourself, creative acts, journaling, the hours a day that I spend on initiatory rituals and internal martial arts and qigong and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and neigong, and meditation. And you use this, and even again, creative projects and things that get you towards fulfillment, so that you feel, so that your worth is being reflected out into the world, that sense of self-worth that you already have, because you are worthy and you are already complete. You don't need anything or anyone else to make you whole. You're already whole. Even if you're a hole. But you gift these things to yourself. And so sexual retention, sorry, man, so I tend to think in Seminal terms, I guess. Sexual retention, when done properly, when done from love and completeness and wholeness and allowing and surrendering and using it as a gift towards yourself, is one of the most beautiful things that you could do. It will change your life in every level: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual practices. Again, the hours I spend every day is amplified to the nth degree. Not that it wasn't strong before, but now it's more, it's much stronger, more refined. So I just want to pass that along, and do what you will. Again, there's a million paths up the mountain, so I'm not saying this is something that you have to do, but it is something that could possibly be beneficial for you, and again, can work through those kinks. Again, it's the whole idea of like lust, anger, and everything. Certain people will say, well, this practice made me angry. Not really. It just amplified anger that was already there, that you weren't dealing with, and so you still have to deal with these things. The kinks aren't going to go away in and of themselves. You have to deal with them. Maybe you have to get into therapy. Maybe you have to journal. Maybe you have to just explore it on your own. However you do things, do shadow work. However you do things, you'll still have to do that, so that the horse can get before the cart in like the most optimal fashions, towards being a complete and perfected human reflection of the vast infinite perfection that you already are. Let's say it that way. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. So with that, I want to thank you and extend love and gratitude to everybody for allowing me to continue to, teach. It's a joy in my life. And yeah, I will try to make deeper dives on some other things very quickly. This one's the seminal retention. Maybe I'll do a fasting. Maybe I'll do a cold shower one, journaling. Maybe I'll make some videos on some interesting Dalian, the Dalian that I kind of do every day, which is almost like circular sort of movements. A lot of it's very flowing,